Hello everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Kemal AA, and this is another Chelsea transfer news today video for you guys, where I keep you guys up to date with all the latest Chelsea news in the past 24 hours and massive developments in terms of Thomas Tuchel's contract extension, in terms of Declan Rice, Romelu Lukaku. Looks like that deal is off. We'll be speaking about Romelu Lukaku, also speaking about Erling Haaland. Which striker is Chelsea going to sign? That is the multi-million pound question that we need to ask ourselves. I'll be delving into all the articles, all the latest reports and the reliable journalists, tier 1 journalists from Fabrizio, Matt Law, etc. I'll be delving into all the latest news in regards to Chelsea. But before I do get into it, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and comment down below your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. But without further ado, let's get straight into this news daily video. I'm starting off with the major news that broke late last night. According to Christophe Torreira, a very reliable, well-known Belgium journalist who has a lot of connections within the Belgium national team. I've spoken about this before. So when it comes to Dries Mertens, Eden Hazard, Thibaut Courtois, Romelu Lukaku, pretty much all the Belgium stars within that national team, he has links and connections. And when it comes to Belgium news, Christophe is tier 1. He is tier 1, and he had an interview with Romelu Lukaku, ironically, and basically, in quotes, as Romelu Lukaku says, he's confirming that he's not leaving this summer. He said that I am staying at Inter. I've already had contact with the new manager, Simeone Inzaghi. Maybe I shouldn't say that yet, but it was a very positive conversation. I feel good at Inter. And that was essentially summarising what he said in the interview with Christophe Torreira in that interview last night. And it broke everywhere. Fabrizio Romano's talked about it. And now it looks heavily likely that Romelu Lukaku will be staying. It's very unlikely we will be signing Romelu Lukaku. Now, some may be happy about that, some may be disappointed. Personally, I'm happy, and I'll give you guys my thoughts and opinions in a second. But in terms of this, what does this mean for Chelsea? Of course, it doesn't mean that it's impossible for Chelsea to sign Lukaku, because in football, everything changes. If we put in an irresistible offer to Inter Milan, if we desperately want Lukaku, if we're going to go all out for him, put the funds on the table, persuade him and lure him to Chelsea, he will come to Chelsea. But it depends on how much Chelsea wants it, how desperate Chelsea for him. And from what I'm hearing, from what I'm reading, Chelsea are not that desperate for Lukaku. We want Lukaku, true, but he's not our first choice. We're still evaluating the Haaland situation. We're still evaluating the Sancho situation, which I'll be delving into later on in this video. But Lukaku's not happy about that, and as a result, he's happy to stay. Again, as he's already said, he's had positive talks with the new Inter Milan manager, Inzaghi. But what are your thoughts and opinions? Are you happy that Lukaku won't be coming to Chelsea, or are you disappointed? Personally, I'm perfectly happy with this. I'm honestly perfectly happy. This is not me saying Lukaku is a bad player, not at all. Lukaku is in the prime of his career. He's been superb. You know, he scores goals everywhere he's been to, and of course, I'm sure he would have been a decent addition for Chelsea. The reason why I don't want Lukaku is because of his play style. He doesn't suit Chelsea. We dominate possession. We play vertical tiki-taka. We've got the counter press going. We're going to play teams that are going to be deploying low blocks. There's not going to be much space. So your close control, your dribbling, your first touch, it has to be elite. And we know that Lukaku hasn't got an elite first touch. His control is iffy. And if you're not brushing up on those areas, you're going to struggle. You know, you've seen what Werner's done this season. I think Lukaku will face the same fate, where there is a lack of space. In that Inter Milan team, in Serie A, you have bundles of space, an abundance of space where he can exploit that space. You know, so for me, I don't think he'd suit our play style. He also plays on the counter-attack as well. We dominate possession, so different play styles. Different play styles. Hence why I'm not a fan of Lukaku coming to Chelsea in this specific setup. But anyway, the Lukaku deal is off. He's not coming to Chelsea. But what does that mean? Who are Chelsea going to sign? We had 3 strikers. Kane, Lukaku, Haaland. You can tick off Lukaku. He's not coming. Kane, you can pretty much tick off. Breaking news as well. Antonio Conte is highly likely to be the new Tottenham Hotspur boss. I mean, what is it with Tottenham trying to steal their old managers, man? First it was AVB, then Mourinho, and what now? Conte. What next? Sarri. I mean, it's a joke, to be honest. But, you know, there's no way Conte is going there without assurances, whether he's allowed funds to be able to bolster and improve the squad. And he's probably been promised that Kane will be staying. So, as I said, even if Kane was available in some regards, I still think that he was Man City bound because of that political situation. You know, we're direct rivals in terms of London clubs. We hate each other. We don't do business with Levy and Tottenham. Harry Kane wouldn't disrespect the Spurs fans either. So it's a bit of a catch-22. I never saw the Kane deal ever materialising anyway. I saw rumours about it. Yes, we were interested, but I never saw it push further than that. There was nothing concrete that we were in negotiations or that we were desperate for Harry Kane. I never saw it. And so for me, it was always between Lukaku and Haaland. Now, Lukaku being off the table, that means that it really is Haaland or bust. It honestly is Haaland or bust. Now, you've got some second-tier strikers you can go for, but personally for me, You either get the top dog or you carry on next season what we have. Second season, Havertz and Werner are bound to improve. Havertz is a generational talent. I think that he's also a potential suitor. You can have a false nine alongside a certain player, which I'll be delving into later on. But moving on to some Haaland news, according to Angelo Mangiante, he was a correspondent for Sky Sport Italia, he's saying that Erling Haaland remains Chelsea's main goal this summer. He is our first choice target. Now, this is something I heard as well a few days ago. Haaland could still happen. And then this is the ironic thing here. Haaland could still happen. This is another reason why I don't think Lukaku will happen, because I know Lukaku's confirmed that he's staying. And of course, things happen. But Chelsea were never desperate for Lukaku because Lukaku simply wasn't first choice. Haaland was the main guy. Haaland still is the main guy. He is Roman's main pick. Matt Law had that podcast back in February. The London Blues podcast is quite free to available. I remember we were listening to that podcast, and he was essentially saying that Roman sees Haaland as that Hazard 2.0, that next generational superstar alongside a Hazard, Havertz, etc. And he believes Haaland is the guy. We create a lot of chances, but we haven't scored a lot of goals on a Tuchel. We have a goal scoring problem. So again, Haaland is the guy. The only problem is now, as I keep saying, Dortmund secured Champions League qualification. They don't need to sell. And with Sancho looking highly likely, this is the next thing I'll get into, which links everything perfectly nice together. The next thing I want to get into is Haaland doesn't need to leave. He's 20 years of age, so meaning that he's nowhere near the prime of his career. He's only been at Dortmund for a year and a half. He could easily stay another year. There's no rush for him. He's settled in Germany. He's happy. He's still developing his game in terms of link-up play. There's some of his attributes that he needs to improve. He's not got that much experience yet. He's young. He's a young lad, so there's no rush for him to move to the Premier League now. Yes, he's been bulking and his physique is perfect for the league, but there's no rush. So for Chelsea to sign him, it'd have to take an extortionate fee, an astronomical fee, with astronomical wages, which I personally believe is actually worth it because of the generational talent he is and what he's proven so far in the Bundesliga on the highest stage in the European competition. So for me, Haaland is a must buy. I think that yes, it's going to take a lot of money. We're talking around 150. I honestly believe it will take around that figure because Dortmund don't need to sell. I can't see a world where Dortmund sell both Sancho and Haaland. Let's not forget, Sancho has a 2-year contract remaining. So this is Dortmund's last chance to get big money for Sancho. If they decide to sell Haaland now and sell Sancho next year, they'll sell Haaland now and they'll lose their generational striker, as well as losing Sancho next season for a discount, for a cut price. So I'm not sure. As I said, it was, and that's Fabrizio has already confirmed, they deem Haaland as untouchable unless a crazy bid came in. We're honestly talking 150 figures here. And I honestly believe that we should pay it because he is the only world-class striker left that we could potentially sign with Kane Lukaku off the market. So, but what do you guys think? Leave me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Now moving on to something else that Fabrizio mentioned on his podcast, on the Here We Go podcast. Thomas Tuchel is of course staying at Chelsea. We know he's here for next season, but the good news is he will have a contract extension announced very, very soon. That is imminent. A 3-year contract extension. For me, fantastic news. He came in initially 4 months ago on the basis of a short-term basis, 18-month contract, just to see how he does in terms of performances and results. He's proven that. He's exceeded those targets by a long shot. The club said hit for the moon, and he's gone for the galaxy. He's gone for the stars. He's gone for the sun. He's completely exceeded expectations. And for me, a 3-year contract is worth it. And what that signifies to me is very symbolic, because what that signifies is he's here for the long term unless something drastically goes wrong. I've said it for a long time. Even when he signed, I said that when we announced his appointment, I genuinely believe that Thomas Tuchel could be our first long-term manager at Chelsea. I sincerely believe that, because I said that the club are tired. Who paid over £100 million in compensation since Romans bought the club? Only, 18 years ago? So it's absolutely incredible. It's too much money. They're tired of hiring and sacking. So they want a long-term manager. They've seen the projects at City and Liverpool, and that gap's been extending ever since Conte's been sacked. So they want to close that gap, and they realise now that they need to hire a world-class coach with credentials and a resume to back up his track records for the long term. And Thomas Tuchel's a guy. He's just won you the Champions League. Yeah, there's no more that he can do. So you have to back him with the signings, give him time, and I think that Thomas Tuchel will deliver. 3-year contract extension, very, very imminent for me. 100% deserved. You cannot say it's not deserved. He is a long-term guy. He is the man to take us forward. I don't like bragging at all, but when he did sign for Chelsea, I said this is the guy for the long term. This is the guy we need to replace Lampard. And already the style of play, an identity, patterns of play, defensive structure, solidity in the team, player performances improving, results improving drastically. We've got a window now, pre-season, to implement further tactics and philosophies. We're just getting started. This is us warming up, yeah. 4 months into the project, and we've already won the biggest trophy in club competition. We're just getting started with Thomas Tuchel. So, you know what? Get the seatbelt ready, strap yourselves in, because it's going to be an exciting ride. And they're going to be hard times, of course there is. It's going to be tough times. It's not always going to be rosy, but, you know, back the guy and you will see a lot of success at this football club. Now, finally, I want to speak about Jadon Sancho, and this is the other alternative to our striking problems for next season. I've already mentioned Lukaku being off. I've already mentioned the possibility of signing Haaland, even though it's very difficult. The third possible option is going into next season what we have already up front. Havertz a false nine. Towards the end of the season on Tuchel, we've seen Havertz thrive at false nine, dropping in the pockets of space in between lines. His link-up play being elite. He's obviously improving his goals and assists, and he's bound to improve next season. He's a lot more experienced now. He's adapted to Premier League. He's had that year now to adapt. Same with Timo Werner. Havertz a false nine, and then potentially sign a Jadon Sancho to essentially assist in terms of goals created and chances created, and he can chip in with some goals as well. He's a goal-scoring winger as well as a creative winger. He can link up with Havertz. He can link up with your Pulisic, your Hudson-Odoi, your ZX. There's plenty of options. With Giroud and Tammy leaving at the end of the season, I think this is definitely a possibility that we could do. Havertz a false nine with Sancho in that right wing or left wing position where they can link up together. I think that's perfect. I genuinely believe that's perfect. I think that is another alternative we can go for. But what do you guys think? Leave me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this news daily, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll see all of you guys for my next video. Peace.